Hey, it's Colleen.
Hi, it's Kate.
And it's Megan.
And we're the
Three Scheme Queens.
Join us as we discuss popular hoaxes and give you our comedic take on what is fact and what is fiction. If you have a sense of humor and an open mind, come take this journey with us.
We'll tell you what we think, and we'll try to prove it to you.
Is this thing on?
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
We're doing it. Welcome to our podcast. But who are we? I'm Colleen.
I'm Kate.
I'm Megan.
We are the
Three Scheme Queens.
We're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. Are they real? Are they not real?
I mean, let's be honest. Have we landed on the moon? I don't know.
No.
Well, have we? Is our mermaids real?
Right.
Right. All of those things.
Bigfoot? Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know.
We're going to be discussing them. And our girl Megan over here.
Yeah, I just want a small disclaimer that we do in fact believe in science.
Yeah,
okay?
we're professionals.
Yeah, we use evidence-based principles in what we do for our jobs.
Yeah.
We just also don't think it's healthy to blindly trust the government.
Yeah, there's no way the government is 100% right all the time.
Yeah, they are definitely not batting 1,000.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe they're protecting us for our own good. I don't know. But what I want to say is that I don't believe everything they say.
No.
No.
And I'm also gullible.
But you know what? We can get into what we believe, what we don't, why we think the government could be lying to us, all of that. We're going to get into it. We're going to try to keep you laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
Go from there.
So,
Okay,
starting
first things
today,
first.
Yeah, what are we talking
What
about
we
today?
drinking? What we drinking, guys?
Oh, that gave me shivers.
That was good.
That was
We really need to...
DC time. Diet, Coke, and chill.
I'm drinking good old-fashioned dihydrogen monoxide for all of you lay people out there.
You fucking nerd. Water.
For all you lay people out there, that's 2 hydrogen atoms bonded with 1 oxygen atom,
Right.
which is H2O.
Right.
I thought you were going
I
to
don't
say
know if
some
you guys know.
high quality H2O.
High quality H2O.
Megan, what you got, girl?
Shout out Chem Nerds.
Got a little homemade crockpot apple cider.
Crackpot.
And what do we put in it? A little caramel vodka.
I am also drinking, Megan. I'm Colleen. I'm also drinking Megan's homemade apple cider. It absolutely slaps, guys, and smacks.
I got to be honest, the caramel vodka
It's
I got
really
off the
hitting.
gram. That was
Yeah.
like a cocktail recipe. It's pretty good.
I'm a little flushed, if you will. Today, we kind of have a little bit of a sad conspiracy, I'd say. It's a little depressing. We're going to be talking about the one and only Princess Diana. May she rest in peace.
R.I.P.
I've got a little summary of the conspiracy here. Let's see if we can prove it to you.
Yeah.
Was she murdered? We'll find out. So on August 31st, 1997, just a shout out to me. I was like 5 months old. Princess Diana, she was traveling. I'm sorry, guys. I did not fact check the pronunciation on these names. I respect these people. I'm so sorry. Princess Diana was traveling with her then partner, Dodi Fayed, who was an Egyptian film producer. And Dodi was the son of Mohamed Al-Fayed, a billionaire who owned the Hotel Ritz in Paris, as well as Harrod's department store and Fulham Football Club.
Whoa.
You guys Fulham followers?
Yeah.
My husband, Bourbon Boy,
If you know him.
if you know him, you love him. He's a big EPL fan, so.
Yeah, shout out to them. But so Princess Diana and Fayed left the Ritz Hotel in Paris just after midnight, accompanied by her bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones and her driver Henri Paul. Reportedly, they were fleeing the paparazzi in her Mercedes, which then crashed into a concrete pillar in the Alma Tunnel, going estimated 60 to 90 miles per hour. Princess Diana and Dodi and Henri all died. The bodyguard, Trevor, was critically injured, but he did survive. So at the time of her death, Princess Diana was perhaps one of the most famous women in the world. Absolute icon she was. and was in the public battle with the royal family, having divulged intimate details of her marriage, which were potentially embarrassing to the monarchy. Hashtag anti-Charles. Hashtag wait, which one was the son? Charles or Philip? Which one was she married to?
Charles.
Yeah, hashtag anti-Charlie.
Philip was his father,
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
And we got William and Harry as kids.
We do know Charlie is the king now, but let's be real, we are Diana fans here. So it was embarrassing to the monarchy, and the French court ruled in 1999 that the crash was caused by Diana's driver, who was reportedly and allegedly drunk and speeding. A 3-year British inquiry led by the Metropolitan Police Chief, John Stevens, agreed with these findings, as did a 2007 inquest with London Royal Courts of Justice, which were including 240 witnesses, apparently. Despite these findings, questions remain, and there were, if you will, a plethora of theories that the death may have been orchestrated by the royal family.
Dun, dun.
So, having read this summary of the events, what are our first impressions here? Because I have my own opinions.
I'm about 50-50 on this. I think that it could have been like an extreme, like really sad event, tragic event. It was a tragic event.
Yeah,
I'm not
no matter
downplaying it.
what,
It's tragic that she died. She was an absolute icon. I could go 50-50. I could see how people could say she was murdered and it was like this big like hush-hush thing, or that it was just a tragic incident that happened coincidentally in a really pivotal point in the monarchy.
So I've got some points here. So
Excuse me, we have to talk to Megan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Megan.
So I
love you.
shocker, don't think it was some big conspiracy.
God,
I think I cannot wait to get into like how the medical team fucked up and how the police fucked up. I actually do love the police, but in general, I love medical providers. I love police, but I think a lot of people fucked up in the investigation and in their management of her. But I do not believe it was some big conspiracy by the monarch.
Raw.
Yeah, what do you think?
All right, so let's just point out the facts.
Okay.
We've got this big family of rich white people. You know, king, queen, monarchy. Right? And Princess Diana, this gorgeous, gorgeous girl, is dating a non-white person. Okay? So this gorgeous woman who, in a way, represents the royal family because of her connections and the fact that her children were, in fact, the... what do you call it? The heirs to the throne, is dating an Egyptian Muslim male, okay? And at the time, there were theories that she was pregnant, right? We think she was a little preggers there, because I do.
We can get into the pregnancy theory, but I'm already ready to
Persuade me against pregnancy.
To rebut this.
You're going to rebut me with two cheeks.
But go ahead. Finish your thought.
Right, so the monarchy clearly would not have enjoyed having this kind of, if you will, color join or be connected with them in any way. I believe that to this day.
Okay. You sound a little bit like Meghan Markle.
I was just going to reference Meghan Markle.
Who I have thoughts about. I am not Team Meghan. But I will rebut.
To be clear, we are Team this Meghan.
Thank you.
You're going to get so much shit for that.
But we'll maybe have to cut it out.
I also am not a fan of Meghan Markle, and I'm not afraid to say it.
But
I'm sorry, you are?
Yes.
She has...
No.
We could digress. We could go off. We'll talk about this offline. The boyfriend that Princess Diana had before Dodi, that she dated for 2 years,
Was also
a Muslim man.
Yeah.
Did they kill her then? Did they kill him then?
Yeah, but there weren't rumors of her being pregnant.
What?
At the time.
Give us the proof. Give us the proof that she was pregnant.
Okay, I don't have proof she was pregnant, but she kept hinting at big surprises coming. So it could be pregnancy or could be engagement.
They've been dating for 2 months.
That was never hinted.
I mean, if
with
I
the
was
previous
engaged
partner.
to it, I mean, if I was dating a man for 2 months who had that kind of money.
And that was never hinted at in the last relationship. You know what I mean? That never came close to engagement. So these children, the heirs of the throne, were pretty close to having a stepdaddy with a little bit of melanin.
Okay. I would like to rebuttal that by saying, if we were to believe the reports of the autopsy say there were Right.
Right.
And now, listen, I'm the skeptic in me is like, but did they?
But there were rumors that the autopsy was done
The
incorrectly.
autopsy says that she was not pregnant. There was no.
It specifically stated nothing was in her stomach, which
They didn't check an HCG or
as
anything?
we know, the stomach is not where the baby grows.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, we do know that. Okay, but like, do other people?
And then I do know her personal friends did come out and say she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, where did the rumor of her
was
pregnancy
having
come from?
Regular periods. Which, like, as a friend, I don't think I would announce.
You
to the
know what, though?
paparazzi
I was
my
thinking-
friend's menstrual
I
cycles.
saw that on a-
I would never mention your menstrual cycles, guys.
But you know what? If you had rumor, hold on, let's play. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Say I'm divorced,
Right.
and for some reason it's really important that I'm divorced, and I am
Sorry, Bourbon Boy.
impregnated by someone else, and yeah, this would never happen, but I am impregnated by somebody else. And I'm like, guys, this is a big deal. I don't want you guys to tell anyone. This is really important to me. I'm not ready to share this, but like,
Well, if I had that conversation
yeah.
with
So
you
if you had this
prior,
conversation, so I think you could rebuttal that like her friends are like, she had regular menstrual cycles and she was in fact menstruating, and she was bleeding every month. Okay, sure. But if I had a conversation with you guys and was like, y'all, we really need to keep this on the hush hush, you guys would be like going to the grave with the secret.
Yeah,
so
I will say that when I first saw that her friends,
I thought that was weird.
I thought it was weird, and then I thought I was like, well, you people definitely could have been like, oh yeah, her last period started on this day.
Yeah.
Kate can predict based on my behavior. But I will say,
Paparazzi wanted her to know so much about her. Okay,
I
go
will
ahead.
say that they dated for 2 months.
I don't think I knew that. So
That's just like awfully quick to be like,
I don't know.
pregnant. No, she's pregnant, getting engaged. Apparently he had actually bought a ring as a rumor, which is
Yeah.
like wild. But then there's also quotes where she was like, I am never getting married again. So it just is like quite a jump to be like, oh, she died.
That was the big surprise, though.
That now that was coming soon.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think it's a lot to be like,
maybe
these
the
assumptions.
big, maybe
and
the
we-
big surprise is
we-
that she realized she was going to be killed.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that, I'm
Whoa,
sure.
Hold on. I'm so glad you mentioned that. All right. So we talked about a pregnancy. We all have our own opinions on that. But was she... I have so many plot points. I don't know which way to go. But so there are facts that she did feel threatened, and that she did feel people were threatening her. So specifically, there was a letter written to her butler at the time, I believe, Paul Burrell. And I do have the quote from that letter. So I'm going to read that to you guys. So, quote, I am sitting here... I feel like I should do it in a British accent. I'm sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase of my life is the most dangerous.
I think we're losing something with the accent. Can you just give us the...
An accident in my car, brake failure, serious head injury, in order to make the path clear.
Wingardium Leviosa. It's not Wingardium Leviosa. It's Wingardium Leviosa.
All right, don't knock my British accent, right? But anyways, she has it documented. She felt threatened.
So, side note here, I will post the handwritten letter to the gram in case anybody couldn't follow any of what was just read thanks to Colleen's accent.
I could not.
Oh, I thought it was lovely.
But I'm sorry. So you're arguing that she said someone's going to kill me in the car. Is that right?
And that she reported that multiple times.
I got some bad news for you, my friend.
What's that?
I think she was in a spiral. So
Oh, like a mentee bee?
yes. So if we back
Maybe
up,
that's the big surprise.
if we back up to,
hospitalization.
but based on the medical care she got, I wouldn't be too keen to be getting in the hospital either.
Yeah,
But
we're
we
gonna get into that.
we
That's
What happens
digress.
when you have socialized medicine?
I know.
Hold
I
on,
know.
guys.
I feel like there's all these people who've been like, and this is what I remember hearing in
Right.
like the last decade or whatever. It's like, but she knew it was coming and she was telling all these people. But then when you actually dig deeper, it's all very sus. So the story that I read, and you correct me if you found different research. First of all, that she had told her lawyer, this was separate from the note, but I'll get to the note. She told her lawyer that, quote, reliable sources had told her that there was a plot to kill her And he said, when she told me this, I didn't really find it credible, but he didn't really know where this information came from. Now we know at the end of her life, she was seeing hundreds of psychics and spiritual advisors and healers, mediums. And where this came from was a psychic who also told her a lot of other things that ended up not being true, like the queen's going to die next year. And we know the queen went on to live for 30 more years. So
that's true.
I feel like she was...
How do we know she saw these people? We saw
now it's
receipts and
yes, it's since come out, and these people have come forward and been like, "I am the person who told her this." Wow! And then the deal
also go crazy.
The deal with her car being tampered with is that she was coming back from seeing her friend, and her brakes failed, and she rear-ended another car. She said she got out, she made sure the driver was okay, she took a taxi, went home, and then she called her friend and was like, "They're trying to kill me. They've cut my brakes." She then took her car to get inspected, and they were like, "This is normal wear and tear," and then she kind of step back from that whole theory. So I feel like these two little individual events happened. We heard about them, and that's kind of what has caused everyone to now spin.
Okay, I just would like to say that this is giving Cersei Sansa vibes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we like Diana.
Yeah, and Sansa is Diana.
You said Cersei.
Cersei's trying to take out
Cersei
Right.
and the Lannisters are the monarchy.
Yeah.
And Sansa is Princess Di, which we all know.
Yeah.
Queen of the
I mean,
North.
we can totally agree she was having a mentee B. It sounds like
She does sound like she was
under a
having
lot of
she was
stress.
on-
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be? Her husband
also,
had cheated on her.
I
She's
was
in
just
this
gonna say it, yeah.
toxic environment. And
But she was
she's
like a child when she married into.
She's child
bride.
and
Yeah.
we all saw what happened to Britney Spears. Okay, and she's in this environment. She's coming at it from all the paparazzi's follow her. She's a fashion icon.
About the paparazzi part of this too.
Yeah,
People
but
believe that,
it's totally valid that she was having a mental breakdown.
So yeah, we can conclude little mentee B, little unwell, but there are still
Which
other
is really sad
aspects.
to me.
Yeah.
Also, her husband's sitting there
Fucked up.
telling her that she's gaining weight and she's bulimic.
Yeah.
Anybody who has
She's unstable.
Yeah.
But there were still other aspects of the accident itself that are questionable.
Hit us with it.
There's two next steps we're going to talk about the driver, which there's a lot to do with the driver.
Feelings
and then
about
about the physical accident.
Okay.
A little suspicious things. So Henri, the driver, drunk, allegedly. So they did do blood tests on his blood to kind of look at the alcohol levels, right? So first of all, my suspicion with that is that there are reportedly that the blood work done was done incorrectly. Question of whose blood it actually was. And then also, no matter what, the results of the blood work, whether it was his blood work or not, yes, had a high alcohol count, but when you compare France's legal level of drunkenness to England, I mean, I know they were in France, but to England, France was a lot more strict. So according to French law, he was too drunk to be driving.
I will say that Bourbon Boy
Yeah.
has some peeps.
Has
Has some
opinions on
peeps
that?
that no. I mean, has been a professional driver in his life.
Right.
Right. And it's very strict what you
Yeah.
can do.
That's
so
true.
how did this driver just
There
get
is
drunk?
Apparently, he wasn't meant to drive that night, but because the paparazzi were giving them such a hard time, they had to escape an alternate route, and that's why he stepped in to drive. Because the paparazzi
but
were
also,
giving him a hard time.
I think part of being a driver,
It's you're always on call.
you're always
should
on
be,
call.
yeah.
You're or a person's personal
I don't
security
disagree with
detail.
you, yeah.
Is that part of your job is to protect
He shouldn't
the
have
person that you're driving.
an ounce
So
of liquor. But then, was it his blood?
Well, no, well, okay, hold on. I just want to address the fact that I think it is hard to believe that somebody who has been trusted with someone as important as Princess Diana would. I mean, and this is a well-paying job, right?
I would assume
she's she's part of the monarchy, whether or not
she was the most iconic female of her
right.
time.
Right.
And so we're just to believe that her driver was so, I don't know, not caring that he went out on the night negligent. Yeah. Went out one night, got blasted, and then was like, these paparazzis are, I don't know, they're being too much. I got to get in. I got to get her out of this. I just feel like the unprofessionalism is really kind of hard to believe. Yeah. And so the argument for he was drunk is like, to me, like, was he drunk or was he
Well, what was the deal? Because I don't know, so I'm asking my expert here. With like
I am the expert.
The blood samples, like they were mixed up, or there was.
So some people say that they were like taken from the wrong body.
But where did that theory come from? There wasn't an official like, oops, we messed.
Yeah, it was from the police officer's reports.
Oh, he fessed up that they messed up.
He admitted to the fact that the samples there was errors with the samples.
Okay.
However, the police officer did say that night that like he was for sure had alcohol in his system. It's just the level of alcohol is controversial because they don't know it could have been Diana's blood, could have been Dodi's blood or whatever. But mistakes were done in the lab, 100%. So yeah, I mean, man was drunk, shouldn't have been drunk.
Yeah.
But now we can talk about, so was he drunk and that was the reason why he crashed, or was something purposefully distracting him? So there are theories that there was a purposeful flash of light, I'm saying purposefully a lot, distracting Henri during driving. And people claim this was completed by somebody with connections to the monarchy, and that this is a known combat technique used by the British Special Air Forces.
I mean, it's a combat technique in general. Right?
Yeah.
So...
How do we know? Like, do they have video footage?
Because multiple witnesses claimed seeing a flash of light.
But also, was it a flash of light from the alleged paparazzi?
Yeah.
Was it a flash of light from what are they, M15, M16, whatever they're
called?
I
will say, going into further research from the police officer, the witnesses who were talking about the flash of light, they all reported it happening at different times.
Okay.
So.
Sus.
Yeah.
That is a little sus. I will say that when driving in the dark, these new lights they have on cars, guys, you know what I'm talking about?
In the 90s.
Yeah, I know, but like...
Which doesn't feel that long ago to some of us.
No, it was like 10 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
Girl math. What was I saying? Oh, so you guys, you've been out on the roads recently and you're driving at night, and these like new like lights on the cars, they're so freaking bright.
Yeah.
It's really hard to see. I hate them.
Yeah, especially like, people flash at me, or I think like people flash. Yeah, that makes it worse. And then you're like, what? They think my brights are on, but it's like, they're not. They're just my bright headlights.
Yeah.
And I see, other people say the same thing, right? But yeah, then you throw in the astigmatism and it's like, what am I seeing?
So all that to be said, if there was some flashing lights in my eyes, I might wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, even let's say I've had one glass of wine and you're flashing lights in my eyes.
I'm going to be like a little bit... I'm going to roll my window down.
You're going to roll your window down?
I'm going to be like, what are you doing flashing your lights at me?
Why did you flash something else at me?
All right. So that's one aspect. Now, this is where it gets more into like me believing that it was like actual purposeful. So let's talk about the cameras, guys. Let's talk about the cameras. So there were 14, not one, not two, 14 cameras that were all incidentally off or could not visualize the accident.
No, this is giving Zootopia vibes.
Yeah, but here's my problem with that. That is again very sus. I agree.
Cameras.
But as somebody who,
every single one of them,
as somebody who reads, watches, consumes a lot of true crime content was the word I was looking for. Thank you. The cameras never work. It's like I feel like 90% of surveillance cameras out there just aren't functioning, and that's what always happens. They're like, oh, look, there's a camera, it captured the whole murder, and then they go and they're like, oh yeah, that thing hasn't been working for a decade.
I don't know. Every single one of them.
That's in America. England's a pretty
We're in France.
This is France,
sorry.
But arguably the same, though. They're like, and as an American, now to our European fans out there, if you exist.
One day they will.
In my mind, Europeans are a lot more strict on their like street rules and like driving and things like that. So in my mind, these cameras should have been on.
Well, I think it's valid to say it's very suspicious that 14 of them weren't working, especially on that route.
Yes.
Like I can understand like, they're like out kind of all over the city and we don't know that's happening, but 14?
That's like
and
many.
like it's like the people in, I don't know, so those aren't working, and then the chief of police come out and they're like, yeah, there was a little tampering with the
Don't
evidence.
get me started on the police.
And then it's like, okay, so these people are just like, are they being paid off by the monarchy? Like that's, I mean, they have that much money. This is Cersei Lannister we're talking about, guys.
That's what I'm saying. So
the Lannisters always pay their debts, okay?
So let's talk about maybe possible purposeful assassination, if you will. Let's talk about the white Fiat.
Okay, the white Fiat is...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So let's set the scene of the accident. We see the black Mercedes with Diana. Okay?
Diana.
Enter the tunnel. We see a white Fiat exit the tunnel. But we do not see the Mercedes again.
What makes it even better? So the white Fiat with what? The tan man and the dog?
Yes. So there was a mysterious tan man driving the car.
Oh.
With a dog muzzled in the backseat.
And this Fiat had a broken taillight?
Yes. So on the accident records, Princess Diana's car had white paint scratch marks all over it. And on the ground were bits of broken taillight. The white Fiat that left the tunnel had black scratches on it and broken taillights. Mm. So people think the driver was like a paid person to like intentionally slam her car into the pole and crash her vehicle. Mm-hmm. And then it drove off and we never heard of it again.
Which I will say is wild to me because I think, I mean, again, I'm trying to be, I don't want to say skeptical, but have a, open mind about these things. Yeah. I want to say that like this was just some car that was involved in this collision, and perhaps it was a paparazzi or someone, and he's like fleeing, and he doesn't want to have been involved, but he was obviously involved. But I can't believe that this is probably the most famous person of our time with the largest death ever, and no one could locate this car. Like no one was like, my husband came home with black scratches all over his Fiat.
Right.
A muzzled dog though. Like,
what do you think the dog? What do you think the other dog? You don't think he was just going for a ride with his dog?
I don't know. It's just weird.
The dog is the thing that's suspicious to you?
It's just like his.
That's the thing that's out of character. Not the scratches, not the tail.
What's got me confused. Why was it muzzled?
No, I mean, I agree. Like, I'm sorry. Clearly, they investigated. Yeah. Clearly, like they investigated it, and then they reopened it.
But did they investigate it?
Hold on. They did reopen an investigation, apparently.
And
yes.
That was like extensive.
We have had they've had like 4 investigations and they just keep coming back with the same results.
Yeah. But
I think though
again,
the problem is that they didn't
when
take
you
enough
have this
evidence down.
when you have the Lannisters controlling the government.
I don't trust the monarchy just like I don't trust the government.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. But like again, they are investigating and they
but
they can't even
you're using investigating. That's a very racist term you're using right now because the investigation lasted all of what, like 3 hours before they just loaded that car up on a truck and took it out in less than 4 hours. The tunnel was open to traffic. Again, you've got the most famous person in the world. I would think they'd be like...
They took 0 time investigating this accident. Yeah. They took 0 time ensuring that they had all the information. They closed it quick. They opened the tunnel so that any evidence that was there is now compromised. And now years later, we have no idea how she... Like, was she murdered or not? We have no...
I'm just saying
the cameras were off.
I'm just saying, this was a point towards the Fiat.
Sorry. Back to the Fiat. Go ahead.
Right. I'm sorry.
You would think if this was such a large investigation...
They would have
closed the loop on that and at least made a public statement about the Fiat.
I mean, I think they did make a public statement, which again is why no one...
what about the dog?
The dog is the least exciting part of this whole thing. Well, the muzzled dog is weird. It did kind of like red flag in my brain, but like the other parts were more red flag.
The next section that Megan is going to lead because I didn't look this up too much, but so she didn't immediately die, Diana, which I don't think people realize that, and I thought she died
like on impact is what I thought.
Mm-hmm. No, she lived. And this is where it's a little bit suspicious, the treatment she received.
I mean, I don't want to take over Colleen's topic here, but it just, the research was just like enraging me. And when you read it, people, the the different sources, which we will throw in the show notes, of course. We cite our sources. Yeah. But they're acting like this is just like normal Paris medical care, French medical care. It's mind-blowing. So let me just give you guys the timeline.
We are professionals too, and we believe in science. So
yeah,
it's suspicious to us for a reason.
So the accident happened, what'd you say, just after midnight?
Yes.
Okay. So the ambulance, which was carrying a doctor, I don't know if that's how they did things in France, I guess. Allegedly arrives at 12:45. So 45 minutes after this accident has happened. Okay.
They're lying there.
Apparently, when they arrive, Dodi is already dead, but Diana is awake. She's talking to them. She's pretty anxious, so they treat her with Versed. It was like a pretty much Versed. The British.
Which EMS is carrying Versed?
I think they have Versed
because
they have to do like
they have to intubate and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they give this lady Versed and fentanyl because she's up and she's talking and she's worked up.
Stop.
Yes, 12:45. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
They then spend 45 minutes at the scene.
Hold on. Do we need to address what Versed and fentanyl is?
Fact check.
Opioids and benzodiazepines, anxiolytics,
and sedate you.
Yeah.
They sedate you. You give Versed and fentanyl is like they give it to you for conscious sedation
And
and stuff.
in theory,
like,
you
in
should
the cath
have a
lab
breathing tube or at least continuous monitoring.
100% continuous monitoring
Bare
because you
minimum.
can lose your airway pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they spend 45 minutes at the scene of the crime, providing, quote, medical care to her.
No.
Okay.
45 minutes.
I'm sorry. We have to go back to the fact that she was talking
Awake.
and just anxious, and they give her Versed and fentanyl.
Especially after big trauma. I mean,
Right.
my thought would be like, she's anxious. Do we have a sense of impending doom here?
right.
Which always means like shit's going to go
Is
bad
she
quick.
hypovolemic? Is
Yeah.
she
She's, like, bleeding out
Yeah, is she
somewhere.
bleeding out somewhere and she knows it? Yeah, like
So 45 minutes they provide treatment, which apparently it sounds like is no longer the policy in France, but was at the time here in America for all of our European
Pack
listeners.
them up and get them the fuck
Yes, and
out of there.
I think as someone who did
Get them to the hospital.
Yes, trauma time in the field. The reason that our military is so successful with moving patients is because everything is just like get them to a hospital as quickly as possible, right?
Right.
Where
so
there
I think
are resources.
if you had a medical, a car accident here, it's like sirens are running. They're getting you to the hospital as quickly as possible.
especially Princess
That's
Diana.
Yes. So I think that it sounds like from my research, and again, Europeans, feel free to jump in here, that maybe
one
this
of you.
practice has changed and now it is more like American where it's just like get them to the hospital.
It's just wild to me. I'm sorry.
like, let's just like provide my one person with my little bag of gear. Let's just provide
fucking-
medical care.
Well, also like
knock her out.
yeah, you
And then-
you go to the scene of a freaking car accident where you're assessing a GCS, and then a Glasgow coma score for people.
your neurologic status.
Yeah, your
yes.
neurologic status, and then you give them fentanyl and Versed, which is going
Purposely
to knock them
change
out
that. Yeah.
and change their GCS.
And then you're just gonna
and then you're gonna
linger
just
around.
pretend like, oh,
How are you going
We're
to
not-
identify changes? Like,
that's
it's absurd.
So then,
sus.
so it's sus, right? So then she's treated for 45 minutes at the scene of the crime and then taken to the hospital. Now, apparently, a couple of issues with the ride to the hospital.
Right.
Apparently, there was a closer hospital than the one they took her to. I can't speak to that because I don't know. You know, like in America, we have our trauma level, our level 1, level 2, and so perhaps it was like a little community hospital, and they were trying to get her to a hospital with more resources, and so that I
do know.
can't speak to that.
I will say that Bourbon Boy was a professional driver. I said that already. He drove for people in the government, and they had a specific hospital. If something were to go wrong, that he had to take that person specifically
like
to.
Reagan, GW,
Right.
yeah.
So like it might have been something like
Yes.
that.
So that is something that as people use the red flag, I put a little less, emphasis on that one, but it is thought they did pass closer hospital. Regardless, guess how fast they drove to the hospital?
Oh my God.
20 miles per hour.
Close. 25 miles per hour to the hospital. Because
As fast as Michael, our Uber driver.
yeah.
Literally referencing Michael again. Hi.
Because the physician who was on board told the ambulance driver to go slow because she was very tenuous and precarious with her medical status. Again, you stared at her for 45 minutes, so they wanted her to go slow so he could provide care.
No.
They then, very close to the hospital, stopped for 5 minutes because he was concerned about impending cardiac arrest. So again, instead of like, I feel like here, we'd be doing CPR, and you'd just be like,
And gunning
get me
it.
there.
Yeah,
absolutely
Once I get to the
gunning it.
ER, we're going to have the whole team there who's going to
Jump on.
pounce.
On the trauma bay.
Instead of
Yep.
like, let's just stop on the side of the road because she could be dying.
That's
right?
crazy. That's
Okay.
absolutely insane.
So we have this slow ambulance journey. We passed another hospital. We've stopped for 5 minutes. So this patient,
Diana.
yes, Diana's our patient, who left the scene of the crime at 1:30 a.m., an hour and a half after her accident,
Yeah.
arrives at her hospital that was 4 miles away from the accident after 2 a.m.
No.
Yes.
Holy shit.
She gets there 2:06 a.m. She then at 2:10 a.m. cardiac arrest because she is bleeding out, exsanguinating, if you will, bleeding out from an arterial injury, which again, she's now been alive for 2 hours. So if you would have just gotten her to the hospital, you probably, I mean, who's to say? We don't know.
And we
We're
don't
Monday
know-
morning
were they
quarterbacks.
pumping fluids into her already.
I'm sorry.
They were performing.
2 hours after the accident, she all of a sudden has this spontaneous arterial bleed.
Or maybe she had like maybe she was
Were they-
somehow bleeding out.
Do we know what they gave her besides, like, were they pumping fluids?
I'm
in?
sure they were. I'm sure they had a physician who, and apparently when all of these reviews that have happened, they have said that people have not said that she did not get appropriate medical care. But I feel like anyone with a small amount of medical knowledge could say that this is all
This
outrageous.
is suspicious.
2:06, she arrives at the ER. 2:10 a.m., she's in cardiac arrest. They perform cardiac massage. Somebody was squeezing her heart for 2 hours straight to try to keep the heart pumping.
They opened her chest.
Yeah, I think they were trying to repair the arterial bleed, which I'm not sure what vessel, subclavian, I don't know, something.
Memory.
And they performed cardiac massage for 2 hours, provided repeated electrical shocks, which failed to revive her. And at 4 a.m., they called it time of death.
Christ.
So do with that what you will. What do you guys think?
I don't know how you go from talking
To
being
like,
opened
why-
at the bedside. I don't know. Did she
I think
tamponade?
they rushed her to like the ER
They
or to the
delayed
OR when they
the
got
OR.
there. I don't know.
There's just a lot of aspects of this that are just like standing out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the medical care, I don't know if I would connect that to like
A conspiracy.
conspiracy. That just seems like poor medical care.
Yeah, I think she got shoddy medical
Yeah.
care and she got shoddy police investigation is kind of where
To
I'm...
me, like the accident itself and the police aspect seems to be the more suspicious part. The medical care just sounds fucked up.
It sounds terrible.
Ugh, this poor girl lived such a horrible time being a part of this. What the?
What else you got for us?
That kind of ends my notes a little bit, to be honest.
I am doing a quick Google right now because what was the name of the
There-
survivor?
Trevor. Oh shit! Hold on. Trevor Rees-Jones.
So Rees-Jones, unfortunately, because I'm like, well, this man, he spent over a month in the hospital. He survived. What did this man have to say about what happened?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sounds like he couldn't
according-
remember his memory. He lost his memory.
I did a quick Google search.
course you
According to Oprah magazine, Diana suffered from a concussion, a broken arm, a cut thigh, and massive chest injuries. After a 2-hour operation to save her, the doctors failed to get Diana's heart to beat properly, and she never regained consciousness. So they called it internal bleeding.
Yeah, I think she
so
went out.
tamponade.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's why they.
Yeah. What's tamponade, guys?
Um,
Put it in
when the
layman's
sac
terms.
around your heart is
Full.
compressing on your
Yeah.
heart.
But I mean, she could have also had any of those large vessels around her
there
heart.
Could have been anything to do with
If
it.
they were
but-
perforated from this injury, she could be been bleeding out internally when
Massive
she was
chest injury.
running around freaking out, and people were just giving her Versed and chatting with her for 45 minutes. You know,
Yeah,
But
like
you're telling
let's increase her vasodilation just to give her some more
Yeah.
room to bleed.
And you're telling me Trevor has no memory?
I'm just trying to Google because I did not. I feel like when I was researching this, I was like, I'm curious what Trevor said, and then I just realized I never looked it up. And it looks like he had a Vanity Fair article in which he said, "This is breaking news, guys,
Ooh.
from November of this year."
Oh, like right now.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
From November of this year, and pretty much he does say that, first of all, Dodi was a real pain in the ass.
Oh, shit.
And so he would never he'd never be like, here's my plan for the day, so that they could like, strategize as far as security and everything goes, and
Right.
that maybe was part of the problem. But he says, that he, that he was intubated they put a breathing tube in his throat pretty immediately, so he was never able to really talk at the scene of the crime. And that I know he was in the hospital for a long time, and he says, and it drives me crazy now that I can't remember the accident. So,
and a lot of the suspicions about like the death is from Mohamed, so from Dodi's father.
Yeah, let's get into that. I think
so. Like Mohamed himself really had like a significant part in like egging on the public towards this, which like, I mean, again, I think it's clear that I don't fully disagree with him on a lot of it, but is there a lot of like emotional ties to that? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, his son died in the accident too.
Yeah, so it's like...
Let me quote you guys from Vanity Fair.
All right, let's hear it.
Rees-Jones also wrote a book, which we will certainly link to in our Amazon store on the gram.
Yeah.
But...
and by the way, our Instagram is 3 Scheme Queens. That's the number 3 Scheme Queens. You can also find us on Gmail.
Same address at Gmail.
Same thing, yeah.
He's talking about how Dodi was kind of a challenge as far as security goes. Quote, his words to me were, I want this to be low key. It's only to be for 2 or 3 days. If we were allowed to have done our jobs properly by the organization, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. Eek. In the book, he wrote that, Rees-Jones wrote that he would have traded his life for Diana and Dodi's. Speaking to 60 Minutes, he said, if driver Henri Paul, who we know died, this is the man accused of perhaps being intoxicated, had been driving so fast it was a security risk, that his driving was that he couldn't control the car, that it was going too fast, I would like to think that I would have said, slow down, right? Which makes sense. There's 4 of them in the car. You'd think if he was really being that crazy, somebody would have been like, chill. Yeah.
Bro, it's not that
I
serious.
also am rereading one of the articles that will be listed in our
Show
sources.
notes.
I completely missed this part. But prior to Diana's accident, she was talking about her previous bodyguard, Barry Manicky, who she had a affair with, and she quoted it as the greatest love I've ever had. So... when it was discovered that they were having an affair, well, I don't know if they were divorced
I'm sorry,
yet.
Kate's referencing Game of Thrones. I'm like, this feels like a Hallmark movie to me. Princess and her bodyguard fall in love.
Anyways, he was fired from royal protection.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could be sleeping with the
Princess
princess.
Diana was recorded being interviewed saying that she believed he was killed and that he was, quote, bumped off because he also died in a car crash. In a mysterious car crash.
He was.
Let me describe his accident. He was riding as a passenger on a motorbike, and the bike then crashed into another car. Was it a white Fiat?
How to create the perfect crime? Make somebody think that they're going crazy, and then kill her.
Was that there's that?
The monarchy is trying to make her seem like she's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, after investigations, it was found that Barry's accident was truly accidental, but, like, what are the coincidences?
I mean, okay, here's the other thing. And this is kind of going to go into why this is a conspiracy theory. Right. I think, like, why this is now 30 years, almost 30 years later, we're talking about this. I think, again, Diana... She was iconic. She was larger than life. I know that you were only 5 months, Colleen. Kate, do you remember where you were when you found out she died?
Probably at the dinner table.
Oh, I remember. We were having a barbecue at the end of summer, and someone was like, get in here. We all went and we saw it on TV. I'm like, I'm a year older than you, so I guess maybe. But
I just remember being at the dinner table. And
so you do remember it?
Yeah. It was like on the news. My dad was like, oh my gosh, Princess Diana died.
Yeah, so it's like one of these 5 things that we can all remember, like where we were when they happened, right? She was huge.
Yeah. Where were you when the world stopped turning?
Okay, let's not get into 9/11. But hey, she's an icon. And so no one wants to believe that an icon is going to be taken down by something as simple as a car accident. But also... I mean, you're talking about her ex-love dying in a car accident. Like, what is the leading cause of death in people under 50? I can't state this for a fact, but I feel like accidental injuries is up there. And I feel like car accidents probably the number 1 cause of death in people who are younger. So it kind of makes sense that that'd be the cause of death. I think that she was just an icon. And so it's hard to believe that, like, she would die by something as, like, basic as a car.
And
like,
also,
any of us could have,
like, the monarchy come off as snakes, in a way.
Also, like... the monarchy has lived for so long, all of them.
They have power.
I know. Well, no,
They
they're like,
have
but I mean,
power.
even like individuals, they all live to be like 100.
Yeah.
I would like to requote myself.
It's very hard to believe that
longevity equals biggest fear. I don't want to live that long.
I mean, was it Queen Elizabeth's dad lived with like his one lung?
Right.
I mean, yeah.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
You
Like,
get the best medical care.
Right.
Obviously not Diana. Too bad for her.
Is Philip a vampire?
Well, Philip is dead, so I think you're referring to.
Is he?
I think you might be referring to Charles.
No. The theory was for Philip.
Oh, his dad? Who's dead?
Until he died. Yeah, because people thought he was living too long.
No, I think you just get
I am so sorry, Queen Elizabeth. Oh,
R.I.P. to her.
R.I.P.
also.
to both of them.
Who also lived a very long life.
Yeah, again, biggest
Yeah.
fear.
I also
But,
loved her.
Like,
I did too.
Let's
Yeah.
talk like old money in general. Like this monarchy has been around for years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah, they're the
They
Lannisters.
have power. They have control. So if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah, whack.
Yeah, but I also think, I mean, we're all Team Elizabeth, right? At least Kate and I, right?
Yeah.
We love Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I think she protected the monarch, and it was important to her. But
Image-
I also think she was like a little
Image
less
mat-
uptight than we all think.
Image mattered.
It does matter.
They didn't want Diana dating a man of color.
I mean, maybe they should have handled their son, who was a bigger mess than Diana.
Yeah,
Maybe he should have kept it in his pants.
but I
you
think
know?
yeah.
Just saying. I'm sorry.
that
You
guy.
are married to Princess Diana, and you're, fucking the nanny.
This might be mean, but like, can we talk about Camilla? Like, compared
Well,
to
it sounds
Diana?
though like Diana wasn't even concerned about Camilla.
Yeah.
Diana was concerned about Twiggy the nanny.
Diana was an absolute babe.
Diana looks great in an oversized sweatshirt and some running shorts.
Yeah.
You know.
We all love that. look.
I wish I looked as good as that.
Oh my god, that's what I think I look like, and then I get a side picture, and I'm like, wide load.
I wish my legs looked as good as hers with those like long, big
oh
like
my
tube
God.
socks.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
again,
a literal icon, an ally, okay,
yeah,
and a fashion icon.
Yeah.
said her piece. You know,
yeah. Anyway,
what a shame.
it's
right.
such a shame.
What a shame.
It was.
What a
This was a little bit. This was a little dark of an episode. A little less
Yeah.
comedy. I don't know. What do you think, Kate? Where do you fall then?
I'm still 50-50. I can get behind the conspiracy that she died.
White Fiat's too suspicious.
The white Fiat's very
Yeah.
suspicious.
That fucking
I think
dog.
a lot of things. I think I can get behind that. Like, there's so much power in the monarchy that if they wanted to do something
They
like
could
this,
have,
they
yeah.
could, and they could absolutely control the content
Right.
and the like press that comes out about it.
Right.
So I don't put it past them, but also it could just be like a really terrible thing that happened.
I think it was a terrible
Yeah.
accident
Yeah.
that was handled terribly. I also think that no matter what kind of police officer, I just can't get over this. Like, the tunnel was open within 4 hours. Like, I would
That
think
would have
that
shut it down for
the pressure would be even higher. Like, we have, again, the most famous woman just died. We're going to do everything by the book.
Your fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. In my opinion, in the end, I think she died due to poor medical care and poor investigation. However, I do believe the monarchy was purposefully making her go crazy. They were definitely feeding into the fact that she was unwell and definitely feeding into the beliefs that something was going to happen to her. Were they actually going to act on that? I don't know. That's conspiracy. I don't know if I could prove it to myself.
Wait,
I don't
so
know.
you're 50-50 too?
I'm a little 50-50.
Ooh.
Yeah. And this is my own theory that I investigated.
Yeah.
I think she died. She dead.
100% she died. Not
I-
Tupac.
I
We're not
think-
talking about
yeah,
Tupac here.
yeah.
Could still be alive.
Next episode. Tupac. But yeah, I don't know. Megan, what are your...
No, I mean, I think it was just a really unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
And
I just want to talk about Game of Thrones one more time and talk about how Cersei killed a ton of people in the red.
This village, the city.
Yeah, you know that like
Yeah.
place where they worshipped?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place with like the green fire,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, the bombs.
And she got away with it.
Wow.
Because people were too scared to say anything.
Wow.
And the monarchy has that kind of power.
Whoa.
Yeah. Game of Thrones nerds, please don't get upset that I said something. Oh, the Red Keep. It's
There
a
you
Red
go.
Keep.
There you go.
There it is. I knew what it was.
So we believe in science and we're nerds.
and
everybody.
Game of Thrones. It actually that's actual history.
All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, interact with us, please. We want to know your thoughts on Diana.
Answer the poll that we'll post
And
on the gram today.
If you like my
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Do you believe that she was murdered and it was
Yeah.
all covered up, or do you think it was just an unfortunate
and
accident?
if
That's what we want to know.
If you liked my accent, leave a comment.
I hate
And
to
if
break it to you, I don't think anyone liked your
If you
accent.
did not like my accent,
But we're Team Colleen, okay? I'm always Team Colleen. I just
Also,
couldn't
the
understand
accent
what you were saying.
I actually was laughing too hard to like pay attention to it. Follow us on Instagram. Where can you follow us, Megan?
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at 3 Scheme Queens. That's the number 3 Scheme Queens, all one word. Feel free to check out our Buzzsprout website where we'll link to some recommended content if you want to learn more about this or any of the other theories we've covered. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did like what you heard, please like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us, Foilheads, and we hope to see you again next Tuesday for a new episode.